doing? I'm Robert Wilson with Cowboy Wisdom Unleashed Podcast. That's my new name, Cowboy Wisdom Unleashed Podcasts. Today's podcast is 7 ways why I appreciate me unleashes me. I rise with sovereign appreciation because appreciating me is never a compliment. It is a frontier activation. Appreciation snaps the spell of healing, forgiveness, and museum mind narratives that tried to archive who I used to be. So, as I appreciate me, I unleash me, I stop revisiting wounds and start awakening wisdom, insight, and clarity to rise, shine, and energize today and all my life. Appreciation is a voltage that lifts me out of yesterday and unleashes the ungoverned version of me. I stand of spirit frequencies, rec, spirit frequency recognition, because appreciating me awakens the parts of me that thinking, knowing, viewpoints, opinions, and belief could never touch. Appreciation is never praise. It is the permission to rise, shine, and energize my dreamer's dexterity. It awakens my intuition to breathe, my inspiration to erupt and get rid of all my corrupt stuff as it unleashes my imagination to expand the grandeur of me. Appreciation unlocks the sovereign clarity that unleashes my rise, mirroring the sunrise of my supreme ubiquitous nirvana, rebellious internal savvy every day. I move through my frontier wise sovereign reverence because appreciating me dissolves every outdated mindset. Appreciation refuses to revisit the past. It opens the now frequency landscapes within me where my originality, clarity, and trailblazer energies ignites my light of life to take flight. Appreciation is the energetic ignition that unleashes me, my wild, fluid, unrepeatable, trend-setting talents. Appreciation is activation. Appreciation is ignition. Appreciation is liberation. As I appreciate me, I unleash me. What, 7 liberating, wise inspiration. Why I appreciate me unleashes me and shows me now. Appreciation unveils my sovereign trailblazer permission. When I appreciate me, I stop waiting for external validation. Healing, forgiveness, or emotional clearance. Appreciation shows me now that I am the one who grants access to me to rise and surprise me with my own trend setting talents. It proves that unleashing me is never a process, it's a permission slip to get rid of my dipshit as I write for myself in here and now time. Appreciation exposes my frontier identity beyond the past. Healing loops the wounds, forgiveness loops the story. Appreciation shows me that I stop, I'm no longer the character who lived either. Appreciation unveils my frontier version of me, the one never defined by injury, narrative, or memory. Appreciation is the spotlight that shows me I actually am here. I'm here today to play my way. Appreciation activates my energetic rise instantly, so I appreciate is never an emotional comfort, it's an energetic ignition that lights me to take flight, feeling love, invigorate, galvanizing hellraiser, trend-setting tenacity. It shows me now that my rise is immediate. The moment I appreciate me, unleashes me as appreciation unleashes my clarity, intuition, inspiration, imagination all at once. It proves that unleashing me is never gradual, it is instantaneous awareness. Aware of the dare to appreciate me sets me free. The sovereign authenticity. Appreciation shows you now what healing and forgiveness could never do. You are already unleashed the moment you appreciate you. Why appreciation rises me out of healing and forgiveness. Unleashing appreciation lifts me out of the wound loops. Healing keeps me orbiting the injury, and forgiveness keeps me revisiting the event and refeeling whatever's going on. Appreciation rises me because it shifts my awareness from what hurt me to what awakens me. Everything that happens in your life is an awakening. You know, we may go back into the museum archives and get the thieves of our lives, but really here is an awakening. So everything you occurs is an awakening. The moment I appreciate me, the wound loses its gravity. Appreciation unleashes me by breaking the emotional loops that healing and forgiveness keeps alive. Appreciation dissolves the identity that needed healing. See, healing keeps you inside the wound, so does forgiveness. Appreciation is the gut grandeur within you to look it in the eye, to spit in the eye of your challenges with a cowboy cowboy up grandeur. Healing reinforces the character who was named. Appreciation erases that character entirely. It shows me the sovereign version of me who is never defined by injury, memory, or emotional archaeology. Appreciation unleashes me because it destroys the wounded identity with my frontier sovereignty. Appreciation activates my now frequency power, unleashes my pioneer prowess to wow me out of yesterday to enjoy today's healthy, wealthy ways. Healing operates in yesterday's emotional logic, as appreciation operates in the present moment, frontier seers savvy. As I appreciate me, my intuition ignites, my inspiration erupts, my imagination expands the grandeur of me instantly. Appreciation unleashes me because it upgrades my frequency into the space of where my past can never follow. The sovereign veracity, healing revisits yesterday, appreciation rises of here and now. And rising unleashes you from yesterday, sets you free to enjoy today. Why appreciation rises me of soul inspiration. Appreciation wakens my soul signals beyond the wound. Healing loops the injury. So does forgiveness. They keep looping the injury and the events. Appreciation lifts me into the frequency where my soul speaks without distortion. And as I speak without distortion, I rise out of the stress of yesterday to feel blessed today. I appreciate me. I stop orbiting pain and start sensing the deeper pulse beneath it. The pulse that carries inspiration, intuition, and sovereign clarity awakens me to the here and now. Appreciation rises me because it tunes me to the part of my soul untouched and untouched by hurt and unborrowed dexterity. Appreciation dissolves emotional gravity and frees my inspiration, dissolving all my healing and forgiveness desperation. Healing keeps me in emotional archaeology. Appreciation snaps the old gravity of old feelings and lifts me on onto my frontier where inspiration breathes. A soul inspiration can never ignite while I'm visiting wounds. My soul inspiration requires altitude for me to appreciate, gives me the altitude, instantly liberating my innovative, creative, intuitive, imaginative rise. How does that feel? Imaginative rise. Feels good to me. Appreciation activates my spirit frequencies. Imagine frequency, imagination. Healing is past tense, and it's in the museum, your mind museum. Appreciation is now in the forefront of your forthright revolutionary optimism, naturally trends, naturally expanding you through life. When I appreciate me, my imagination expands, my intuition sharpens, and my inspiration erupts of enterprising, rebellious, utopian prowess today, streaming my unique talents through the world. Appreciation rises me because it it unleashes my awareness of onto the living, breathing, present moment. The only place soul inspiration that's the only place soul inspiration exists is right here. Why I appreciate me unleashes my trailblazer talents. I rise with savage sovereign appreciation because appreciating me is never a soft emotion, it's a frontier force. Appreciation snaps the spell of healing and forgiveness, dissolving every museum mind storyline that tried to archive who I was in my museum of archived whatever I put in there. As I appreciate me, I stop revisiting the wounds and start activating wisdom, insight, and clarity to understand life is a path of enlightenment when I listen and question my way. Appreciation is the ignition that lifts me out of yesterday and onto my trailblazer clarity to enjoy life my way. I stand in spirit frequency, recognizing appreciation that to realize appreciation because appreciating me awakens my trend-setting talents that thinking, knowing, and viewpoints, opinions, and belief can never touch. Appreciation is never praise. It's a pioneering permission for me to rise, shine, and energize. It gives my intuition room to breathe, my inspiration room to erupt, and my imagination room to expand the grandeur of me, to enjoy life my way. Appreciation unlocks the sovereign parts of me that answers and that answers and solutions could never reach. Answers and solutions are a box of keeping you in the museum minds binds of your thinking and knowing. I move through frontier with wise sovereign reverence because appreciating me is how I rise beyond every outdated mindset. And the thing about mindset is Is whatever was going on at that time, is that what the mindset is. That's why if you awaken to forthright foresight, you rise out of that. Appreciation dissolves the cages of healing and forgiveness by refusing to revisit the past. It opens the now frequency landscape where my trailblazer talents ignite my wild, fluid, unrepeatable trailblazing talents. Appreciation is the voltage that unleashes my originality, my clarity, and my sovereign rise, surprising me with my talents. As a sovereign veracity, appreciation is activation. Appreciation is ignition. Appreciation is liberation. As I appreciate me, my trailblazer talents erupt. Why appreciation activates my intuitive inspirations, innovates my innate potentate talents. Appreciation awakens my sovereign sensory wisdom. Appreciation heightens my senses because it shifts me out of emotional residue of the whoopie doo poopy doo I have ingrained onto my present moment clarity. As I appreciate me, my awareness sharpens, my perception expands, my sensory field of foresight, ingenuity, energizing life dawns my alive and precise prowess. Appreciation activates the part of me that feels a veracity directly without thinking. Thinking, knowing viewpoints, opinions, or beliefs interfering with my here and now. Appreciation ignites my intuitive inspirations instantly. Instant, intuition can never breathe in the museum mind. Appreciation dissolves the emotional fog of healing, forgiveness, and old narratives, clearing the channel of intuitive eruptions. As I appreciate me, inspiration rises as a sovereign signal, clean, wild, fluid, and unrepeatable. Appreciation is the ignition that turns intuition into inspiration. Appreciation innovates my innate potentate talents. My potentate talents, potentate's a leadership. My potentate talents and my sovereign abilities I was born with activates when I appreciate me because appreciation dissolves every internal block, blockage, and blockade. Appreciation frees my imagination, accelerates my creativity, and unleashes my frontier genius, whooshes me into my promised land of divine daredevilry. That innovates my talents by lifting me onto the frequencies where originality, clarity, and energetic power erupt without limits. How does that feel? Energetic power erupts without limits. Because the only limit we have is our thinking and knowing and feelings and our past. The sovereign veracity is sovereign veracity. Appreciation activates your senses. Appreciation ignites your intuition. Appreciation innovates your potentate talents. As appreciation is the voltage that unleashes you. Why my potentate talents ignite my leadership prowess. My potentate talents activate my sovereign clarity. My innate potentate talents rise from my spirit frequency wisdom, never from effort, strategy, or performance. When these talents ignite, they sharpen. my perception, heighten my awareness, and expand my intuitive commands. Leadership becomes natural because clarity becomes instinctive. My potentate talents generate frontier inspiration, others follow. Leadership is never persuasion, it's resonance. When as my potentate talents ignite, my inspiration becomes a living signal that others feel, sense, and respond to. People follow frontier energy, never instructions. My talents create that energy effortlessly. My potentate talents unleash my innovative authority, showing me the way to my promised land. Leadership prowess comes from originality, never repetition. My potentate talents innovate naturally. They generate fresh ideas, illuminate fresh pathways, fresh solutions, or fresh insights without museum mind logic. These talents ignite. I lead because I create what others can never imagine. Why appreciation quiets my inner landscape, energizes my hellraiser heart and soul, and expands me through life with ease. Appreciation quiets my inner landscape by dissolving emotional noise. Appreciation shifts me out of the museum mind's chatter that loops of healing, fixing, and analyzing and remembering. As I appreciate me, as you appreciate you, the inner static drops, the emotional fog clears, and my inner terrain becomes a still, clean, sovereign splendor. Appreciation quiets me because it replaces inner conflict with inner clarity. Appreciation energizes my hellraiser heart and soul. As my hellraiser heart is never chaos, it's raw, sovereign fire. Appreciation fuels that fire without burning me. That energizes my spirit frequency and the voltage, turning rebellion into wisdom, intensity into clarity, with a passion of power that clears my prowess to show me the way. Appreciation awakens the part of me that rises without resistance. How does that feel? Appreciation awakens the part of me that rises without resistance. Appreciation expands me through life with ease. Ease is never softness, it's alignment. Appreciation aligns my senses, intuition, imagination, and potentate talents into one clean signal of sovereign savvy. When I appreciate me, life stops feeling like effort and instantly feeling expansion. Appreciation opens the path, smooths the rise, and lets me move through the world with sovereign flow. The sovereign authenticity. Appreciation quiets your inner world. Appreciation fuels your hellraiser fire as appreciation expands your life with ease. Why appreciation quiets my museum mind and unwinds my prime time trailblazer ingenuity and mystically enterprises my whys. Appreciation quiets my museum mind by dissolving archive thinking. The museum mind is built from old logic, old emotions, old identities, old conclusions. Appreciation silences it because appreciation is a now frequency, never a past frequency. When I appreciate me, the archive noise loses its authority or it's any control or manipulation. The inner landscape becomes quiet, clean, and sovereign, open to hearken fresh perception to move me through life with ease instead of recycled memory. Appreciation unwinds my prime time trailblazer ingenuity. Ingenuity can never ignite while tangled in emotional residue. Appreciation untangles me, it unwinds my tension, my self-doubt, the inherited frameworks of my museum mind narrative and my museum mind narratives. As I appreciate my trailblazer clarity that rises me without friction, ingenuity becomes an effortless, instinctive, and prime time ready. Well, the thing is, appreciation mystically enterprises my whys. Enterprising is the mystical expansion of my inner wisdom into the outer expression of me. Appreciation activates this because it aligns my intuition, imagination, potentate talents into one sovereign signal. As I appreciate me, my whys becomes alive, fluid, innovative, never learned, yet awakened. Appreciation turns my inner knowing into outer mastery, showing the world my talents. Why appreciation awakens energetic liberation, sovereign audacity, revolutionary revelations, politically incorrect inspiration, as appreciation awakens my energetic liberation. Appreciation dissolves the museum mind's emotional residue and lifts me onto my pure now frequency awareness. As I appreciate me, my inner landscape clears, my spirit voltage rises, and my liberation becomes instinctive instead of effortful. Appreciation frees me from the loops, wounds, and narratives and identities, unleashing the raw, sovereign energy that makes liberation my natural flow state. Appreciation ignites my sovereign audacity, energized listening, and maverick question, because sovereign audacity is born when appreciation removes hesitation, self doubt, and inherited programming. Energized listening awakens because appreciation quiets the museum mind and amplifies my intuitive perception. Maverick questions erupt because appreciation gives me the courage to ask what dissolves conditioning instead of reinforcing conditioning. Appreciation turns my awareness into my frontier force, feeling optimistic, realizing celebrations every day. Appreciation unleashes politically incorrect inspiration, cowboy wisdom, and revolutionary revelations. Politically incorrect inspiration is never rebellion, it's veracity unfiltered. Cowboy wisdom is never rustic, it's sovereign clarity that refuses to be domesticated. Revolutionary revelations ignite because appreciation removes the internal cage and lets my spirit frequency wisdom express without permission. Appreciation is a voltage that unleashes my wild, wise frontier revelations as I enjoy life. And appreciation just dissolves all the inner angst within you, allows you to rise to the here and now, wows you out of yesterday. I want to thank you for listening. I am Robert Wilson with Cowboy Wisdom, and this is my podcast, Cowboy Wisdom Unleashed.